Living in a graveyard was an interesting choice, even for a vampire. The irony had to be deliberate. It shouldn't have been that strange since we're all dead, clinically speaking, but most vampires didn't seem to flaunt that fact. The entrance to the cemetery almost looked like it belonged to mansions. I reached out to testingly push the elegant, towering iron gates, wondering if they were locked. But they loudly creaked open at the first hint of my touch, all too eager to beckon me inside. With some hesitation, I stepped onto the little path that wound through a maze of graves. It was dark, almost unnaturally dark, and a thin mist curled sluggishly among the headstones. I couldn't deny the cemetery's haunting beauty. The watchful statues, the towering trees, the rigid lamps that cast an eerie sheen on whatever they struck, everything seemed preserved in time. Far in the distance, I saw the city lights glowing brightly, like electric fireflies drifting through darkness. My eyes fell from glittering skyscrapers down to the cold gray tombstones surrounding me. The atmospheres of graveyards like this made me feel intrigue. The dead kept many secrets, and it was like those secrets had sunken into the soil, filling the ground with their dark, macabre presence. It was one of those mysteries you could never really solve, a constant unknown. And for that very reason, I was fascinated. Following the path, I headed deeper into the graveyard, forcing myself to stay on high alert. Everyone seemed either terrified of this man or reluctant to even speak his name. Considering the power and confidence of most vampires I had met so far, that was no small feat. But after wandering around for several minutes, I couldn't find anyone. Maybe I had missed him, or else Jang had pulled some kind of prank on me. There wasn't exactly a doorbell I could ring either. Suddenly, I sensed the presence of someone nearby. Like Marcus, it had abruptly appeared instead of slowly growing closer. My eyes darted around to try and spot the source, but I couldn't detect where they were. Until I glanced behind the mausoleum. There, a lone, statuesque figure stood with his back to me, gazing up at the moon. The instant I saw him, a chill ran down my spine for reasons I couldn't explain. Something about his presence was incredibly calm and controlled, almost too calm, completely unlike any other human or vampire I had met. Say nothing and wait, I stood up. I stayed silent, staring at the tall silhouette. But I had already given myself away. The man too turned to face me, gaze flicking directly to where I stood, as if he had known I was there all along. His eyes dimly glowed like two beacons in the dark, casting a pale golden sheen onto his face. The figure took a few steps towards me. Maybe the wind drowned them out, but I could have sworn his footsteps in the grass was silent. He stopped a small distance away, gazing me up and down with aloof curiosity. At last, with a soft inhale, he subtly nodded, maybe to himself more than to me. Welcome to my residence, Midori. I hope its unorthodox nature does not cause you undue distress. He spoke in a quiet, near monotone, his deep voice oddly soothing. I am Andre Zebe. Andre, are you the Golgotha leader? The corners of his mouth curled faintly upwards at my reply, yet it didn't seem quite like a smile. It appears my message was delivered. I am pleased you decide to acknowledge it. Only on rare occasions do I extend personal greetings to the Los Angeles latest inductions, but for you, I chose to make an exception. And Why that might be, and why might that be? The glow of Andrew's eyes flickered for less than a second, like a lamp brushed by a poltergeist. There are, on occasions, individuals of unique potential and circumstance who are noteworthy enough to attract my interest. Very few vampires have been turned in Los Angeles in the past several years and have managed to survive. Yet you appear to flourish. As nascent as you are in your development, I feel as if you hold great promise. Well, managing to survive at least. Ah, the most enduring struggle of all. It was impossible to tell from his deadpan expressions whether he was being truly sympathetic or not. I'm aware you are employed by Charis Locke, the Iscari leader and regents of Los Angeles. Her methodology of ruling is disagreeable to me. That is why I seek to subvert it and why I rally others against her. But she is a formidable opponent. While the mob seek to fight in the streets, Locke and I battle in the shadows, a duo of assassins and spies. A faint, insidious smile spread across his lips, not quite reaching his eyes. However, as of late, she has begun losing ground to me. I believe that is why, in her desperation, she seeks to mold you into a suitable weapon. I'm just doing what I have to. My situation isn't exactly flexible. There's nothing one is forced to save for abiding by the natural laws of the universe. Beyond those laws, your will is entirely your own. You are merely deceiving yourself into seeing another's will as an impassable barrier, when in reality it is nothing but a circle of thread on the floor around you. Such a barrier exists solely because you believe it does. His quiet, calm voice drifting into silence, Andre turned his gaze up towards the moon. The time for an end to this conflict swiftly approached Midori. Either a new ruler will establish domain over the Los Angeles Coven, or else will show destiny into anarchy, beginning an inevitable end of our kind, for our kind. It sounded remarkably placid for such a dramatic statement. Even when I studied his face, I couldn't see any visible trace of emotion. My assistant served as my eyes and ears, unseen and unheard, absorbing all that would be hidden as they move among the dead. But with current tensions between the houses, the range is limited. Andre felt purposefully silent, allowing his thin smile to finish his implication. You are as subtle as a train wreck. I find the potency of what is left unsaid to often be far greater than blunt exposition. But rarely do I deliberately obscure my meaning, only a fool muddies his waters to make them appear deep. He paused, letting his words sink in. Unlike your arrangement with Iscari, in my employ you'll be treated fairly and with due respect. Join me and I can promise you an elevated seat in the new government I intended to establish. New government, what does that mean? Forgive me, but I cannot disclose the entirety of my designs while you're still in Locke's service. I will, however, inform you that our ambitions are entirely different. She desires to maintain the status quo of secrecy and stasis, while I wish for Akagi reach a certain understanding with mortals. It is inevitable that, as technology advances, vampires will one day be exposed. I seek to prevent the unfortunate circumstance that would arise from such a scenario. Does that provide you with more insight? Actually, I'm more confused now. That is unfortunate, for I feel I have already given you all the information I can. Do I have to give you an answer now? I'm afraid so. It is a sudden decision, so I understand your trepidation. But I would ask that you follow your instincts in this regard. Those whose hearts and minds are prone to wavering often make unreliable allies. And you know what it means. I'm going to save the game. Alright, we have two choices ahead of us. Working with Andre or decline his offer. I think I will choose the second option for now. I see. How unfortunate. Andre's tone remained flat with his brows twitched slightly. But nonetheless, I respect your decisions. Perhaps our paths may one day cross again, although it seems unlikely. You won't let me come back here. It is inadvisable for you to do so. Those who guard this resting place are swift to set upon them by not judged as allies or without explicit invitation to enter. It started me in the increasingly uncomfortable silence that followed, unsmiling and unblinking. I wish you luck in the rest of your eternal struggle, Midori. Good night. After Andre's polite dismissal, I left the mausoleum behind, heading back down the empty path. On the way back to the graveyard's entrance, I couldn't shake the strange feeling of presence surrounding me. But they were too muddled to really identify. Luckily, I managed to catch a passing taxi not far from the cemetery. By the time we drove back to Holy, sunrise was still several hours away. Something about the graveyard had left me feeling restless, so I decided to pay a visit somewhere. Visit the abattoir. Why not? It's actually pretty nice. I think I'll go to the beach house first though. I had my driver take me to Santa Monica, deciding to stop at Randall's place. There was a small crowd here tonight, enjoying themselves over with drinks, but no sign of Randall. Chat with the mapper. Anything else I can do? When I glanced around the gathered mapper, it seemed like most of them were in a single group, sharing stories about their eventful lives. Wandering up to the circle, I decided to join in the storytelling. Why not? The mapper's histories were interesting enough to listen to, ranging from addicts to runaways to average people whose life had suddenly turned upside down. Most of their tales involve a watershed moment when they heard by Randall and his clan, which always caused a loud chorus of cheers or warm shouts of encouragement. Before long, someone asked me to tell a story of my own, so I began to talk about my own history. Randall and the Hunters. Another choice I am going to save. Should move to page 2 right there. My own history. I brought up a story from my past, one that I felt comfortable sharing among such a large group. Most of them marvel and listen attentively, although some of them seem to get bored and wander off. Okay, you know what? Let's move over this again. Randall and the Hunters. As I described the tense moments when Randall and I were huddled in the alley, unsure whether the hunters would discover us or not, I saw a sea of fascinated, admiring gaze focus on me, drinking in my every word. By the time I finished, a number of mothers stepped over to hug me, thanking me for coming with them that night. After a little while longer than I finally slipped away, leaving them to their chat and laughter. Look around for someone interesting. I shifted towards one of the groups, trying to find an opening in the conversation. They didn't seem to notice me at all though, and I found myself standing somewhat awkwardly in the corner. Hi there, could I speak to you for a moment? Just then, a soft, pleasant voice called out behind me. Holy crap. I turned to see a short girl staring me with a curious look, her eyes keenly peering into my face. Ah, I was right, you're Midori, aren't you? That's me, yes. Good, I was right then. My name is Evelyn Marlowe. I'm a journalist doing a report on the conditions here. I heard you were the intriguing new face in town, so I was wondering if I could ask you a couple questions. Shouldn't take too long, I think. Would that be alright? Questions about what? Well, let me explain. She threw her pencil in her left hand, her eyes keenly watching my face. I'm not actually a member of Alice Coven, you see, though. I am a mother. I come from London, where I'm something of an activist, and I'm visiting to research the conditions in the city. From the way Evelyn wrinkled her nose at conditions, I could tell she didn't find them too appealing. Since you're more of a newcomer to LA, and our lifestyle, I thought you had some interesting thoughts to share. Let's see here. She thoughtfully plucked at the front of her loose shirt with one hand, fiddling with a small notebook in the other. It seems Randall and his plan are mostly in favor of total anarchy. No plans for a new system of government if they overthrow Charis. What are your thoughts on a chaotic situation like that, Midori? It's pretty short-sighted. Peace won't last for long with anarchy. We can't implement laws later if we need them. Yeah, I think I'll save it right here. You can't govern empires like you can. Oh? You know, I heard of similar philosophy a couple of centuries ago in France. Result in a lot of unpleasant situations. Evelyn gave me a long look, her words hanging pointedly in the air for several moments. There's another concerning subject I wanted to ask about too. You're aware of Randall's view on our relationship with humans, right? He doesn't encourage killing or harming them. He also won't make any rules that prohibit those things. Do you have an opinion on how humans should be treated, Midori? We should avoid hurting them. The rules against it are pointless. Pointless? I doubt the human who are safe from sadistic vampires would call such rules pointless. Our driving instinct is to prey on humans. You can't make laws against that. With or without rules, it will still take advantage of humans. You can't prevent it. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try. You cannot just let monsters like us run check how you feel you are still human, knowing some beasts out there waiting to abuse you. Have a little empathy. Midori, think about the world you just left behind. You seem to have a pretty strong opinion on these things yourself, Evelyn. I do. Like I said, I'm an activist in London, but I don't concern myself with our code. I don't care much at all about vampire society. It's just a mess of parasites trying to one-up each other, leeching off humanity whenever they can. I'm much more concerned with human society, helping them improve themselves and keeping vampires from meddling where they don't belong. She sounded quite determined, a furious spark flashing in her eyes as she spoke. Well, that's all I wanted to ask you, Midori. I'll be heading off for now. Thanks for your answers, Midori. Despite her words, she gave me a slightly disappointed glance, as if my answers had been more disheartening than useful. Yeah, we can try again. can try again right here, right now. I think it could work if Randall's overseeing things. With Randall's oversight, Evelyn brought me dubiously, her eyes narrowing a little. You seem to have a lot of confidence in him. He makes it sound like he doesn't want to be the city's leader, though. That might result in some problems, don't you think? The question must have been rhetorical, because she swiftly cleared her throat before continuing. Okay. Yeah, I do think we need rules to protect humans from our kind. That makes me happy to hear. So few vampires in the city have any sensibility to humanity left. Yeah, look at that. If I'm not wrong, Sharice has some laws against hurting humans, but a lot of her other policies seems unpopular. What are your thoughts on? I do agree with some of what she says, but not all of it. She seems to care more about mortals than the other two leaders, that's for sure. She let out a sigh, something between a faint smile and a grimace crossing her lips. You seem to have a pretty strong opinion on these things yourself. Yeah, blah blah. But if you're ever around London, you should come find me in my group. Reaching into her pocket, Evelyn pulled out a small pamphlet, offering it out to me. Along with our little news circulation, we also try to help less fortunate humans in the city and all over the world. My number's on there, so once this city's caffeine dies down, give me a ring if you're interested in helping out. Well, I'll think about it. Fair enough, just remember what cause are really worth fighting for. With that, Evelyn turned away, fiddling with her notebook as she approached a different vampire. I'm going to go elsewhere now. Slipping out of the beach house, I made my way back across the sand. I'll spend time at the hotel, head back to my room. I'm going to the Saturnalia. I had the taxi drive me to Saturnalia and watch through my window as downtown LA glittered into view. There was no sign of heat tonight, although some Iskari quietly noticing their drinks. I thought I remembered their face from the hotel, but I wasn't sure. Chat with the patrons. Let's do just that. The bar's patrons were an interesting bunch this night. A former porn director, a depressed singer who had failed to make it big, a supposedly dead politician, and an Elvis impersonator. Of them were Iskari, and why the director and politician worked for Sharice, the singer, and not Elvis, were unaffiliated loners. When I first struck up conversation with the unhappy singer, the others were all by themselves, looking more lonely than anything. But after they saw us chatting, they drifted over one by one, until all five of us were lounging by the bar and exchanging backstories. It was only a matter of time before the subject of politics reared its ugly head, though. The politician started dropping hints that the singer could find some renewed attention among the Iskari if she aligned herself with the faction. She seemed hesitant but torn, and soon she turned to ask me for my thoughts. I told her. Okay. To meet with Sharice and make her own decision. I think this is the right choice. I convinced her to think over things carefully, but I acknowledged that the faction might be a good fit for her. She seemed grateful for my neutral reply and said she would try to get a meeting with Sharice whenever she could. Our conversation continued for a little while after that, though eventually the group began to disperse. The newly arrived patrons didn't seem as interesting, so I decided to head somewhere else for the night. Let's visit the Blood and Roses. I asked the taxi driver to bring me to Blood and Rose, and we soon pulled up outside the shop. With the sign in the window red closed and all the lights inside were off. It seemed like Marcus wasn't around tonight. Let's visit the abattoir. The club seemed fairly quiet tonight. Unlike last time, I sensed more humans than vampires. But over by the hallway, I caught a glimpse of Alicia's eyes catching her. Chat with her. I wandered over towards Alicia, who was idly chatting with a small group around her. She didn't seem to notice my presence at first, but once our gaze met, she beckoned me over with an energetic wave. Hello, darling. I was wondering if you plan to stop by again. Well, I couldn't keep you out of my thoughts. Oh, is that right? People do tell me I'm good at inventing places I shouldn't be. Anything you would like to ask or talk about? It's a bit loud here, but I'm listening. Tell me about yourself. Me? I suppose you might call me a libertine if you wanted to be rudely accurate. She snickered, but her smile slowly faded into a more sober expressions. Well, let's see, I'm a transplant from Sheffield over in England. Came to LA with a boyfriend who wanted to try and make it as an actor, but he dumped me about a month after we arrived.
I've been held up in the city for
Did you want to come here or were you just following along? Actually, I had already lived in the States a few times growing up, so coming back seemed exciting, nostalgic. But worst of all, I was in love and Hollywood was such a romantic idea, and I had such big hopes for our future. All that silliness. Alicia heaved a wistful sigh. After a few days of crying my eyes out, I realized I should probably find myself a job, since I didn't want to get thrown back into the sea. Turns out the club and entertainment scene suited me just fine. I've been a bartender, dancer, one of those girls who pops out case at bachelor parties. I have just about done it all. I always dreamed of some exciting career. Figured I would end up exploring ancient ruins, running monster trucks. Something that makes people's eyes go wild after they ask, what do you do? This club thing is very fun. You should see the things people do in the back rooms. And I have had great times partying here, also under the influence of various things. But I do think there's something more for me out there. I'll have to find new thrills before long, and even though I'm not sure where they are yet, finding out is part of the fun, don't you think? As she finished, a little spark returned to her eyes. Have you ever wanted to become a vampire? No, I have thought about it quite a lot actually. Got plenty of offers too, especially now that all vampires except the Iskari are ignoring showers. Don't buy someone unless mommy says so rule. But I think I'd really be miserable as a vampire. I would have no idea what to do with all that time, and even worse, I wouldn't be able to eat lava cakes anymore. Much rather live fast that young. I don't want to see myself becoming some cynical old spinster in the body of a 30-year-old. Despite her rhinestone, she seemed a little uncertain. What does it feel like to be drunk from? Darling, I can't even describe it. You must have felt it once when you were turned, although the memory is probably fuzzy now. It's just so amazing, almost too amazing. She let out a long sigh, but curiously enough, I saw a brief wistfulness flickering through her eyes. Actually, I passed out the first few times, but after I had spent a few months as a blood pack, I started remembering the sensation little by little. It's a cheaper, easier high than just about any drug, and probably safer too, as long as you're not getting sucked dry. But that adds to the thrill, I suppose. By the way, that X-ray they sent to me, cutest ass I've seen in years. Good job. How did you first learn about vampires? Through Marcus, actually. I'm sure you know him, right? He was the very first vampire I ever met. In Phil, was he ever an interesting tour guide for the underworld? Little baby guy that I was. I had never been so excited in my life. Vampires, real, not just a kinky fantasy. Of course, I learned later on that the vampire life isn't all rose and bloody tears and romance, and a lot of you have it pretty rough. But I'm glad I got to learn about them, even if I can't watch Nosferatu without imagining him wandering inside Marcus' sex shop. That's all for now, I think. Yes, sir. Have a lovely night then, darling. Winking at me, Alusha turned to saunter away, fluffing at her hair with one hand. Get a drink at the bar. Flagging down one of the bartenders, I ordered a glass of a classic special, which most unsuspecting humans probably assume was a Bloody Mary. As I took the first sip of my drink, turning away to survey the dance floor, a short, thin figure in androgynous clothing began to pass me by, holding a drink in either hand. They suddenly stopped mid-stride, staring down into my eyes. Almost immediately, I could pinpoint their presence as a Golgotha. Oh, your face. You look like a Death Star, one from an old film I used to love. They spoke in a quiet voice, head tilting at me curiously. Well, you got the dead part right at least. I've seen a lot of Death Stars in my time. I know how to pick them out. Their words were laced with a slight German accent, lilting in a slow, poetic way. I am Alberry. You might have seen my work under a different name. I used to be a filmmaker in Berlin, but I came here in the 30s, back when Hollis Coven was a tiny little production. In these 60 years, I've always seen a face as faded as yours once before, and she didn't have a happy ending. Alberry smiled at me thinly, taking a sip from the glass in the left hand. I don't always like happy endings. I'm pretty once open to interpretation. An experimental mind, then. I admire that. They gave me a knowing nod, chuckling softly. Just as a note, my sire was in the theater when Lincoln was shot. You should watch out for the bullet, too. At that moment, their eyes flicked towards a waving figure on the dance floor, and they let out a gentle sigh. I should get this string to my side before he snatch up the human. He's quite old-fashioned and hates using glasses. Good night, Star. They continued on their way after winking at me briefly, disappearing into the crowd before long. Without any other eventful encounters, I finished my now lukewarm drink and tipped the bartender, returning to the club's main hall. Let's head outside. We should go back to the hotel. I left the noisy interior of the club, returning to the street. It was later than I expected, which meant I should probably settle in before morning. Time seemed to pass so quickly, even though I was technically immortal now. Just as I stepped back inside my room, at that moment an anxious knocking echoed from nearby. But it wasn't at the door, it was coming from the window, and the face peering in me at me was Randall's. He seemed to be shouting something, pounding his knuckles on the thick glass. Swallowing my astonishment, I rushed over to let him inside. Thanks, newbie. After clambering inside somewhat ungracefully, Randall brushed back his windswept hair and offered me a bright grin. Now, before you even start, I know what you're thinking. I was doing just fine out there until the wind decided to pick up, and I had one of those "oh shit, how did I get into this situation" moments. Damn, why did they decide to put you so high up? It's like when bitches were trying to lock you away in the Tower of Christ. He grumbled under his breath, but I could tell he was enjoying himself. How did you get up here in the first place? Listen, don't sweat the details, they're not important. I'm here now and that's a bigger problem for you to worry about. Really though, why would you risk coming here in person? Randall paused, scratching at his beard. It looked like he was trying to hide a smile, but gave up halfway through. Actually, clearing his throat, Randall paused for a moment, gazing at me fondly. I just came to invite you to do something fun tomorrow. Though, about just calling you up, hell, it was a good excuse to see your face again. I guess you take the phrase drop in on someone pretty literally. Well, it would have been a little more dramatic if your window hadn't been locked, but whatever. Next time. Anyway, I was being serious about you coming along with me. See, there's this band, the Alchemical Men, up and coming rock stars. They're getting pretty famous. Their frontman is this crazy guy who calls himself Catman for a stage name. His real name is something boring as hell, like Adam. So I guess he decided to switch it up. Now tomorrow night they are secretly filming a music video on some out-of-the-way road in LA. Have you ever seen a big-time video being shot before? It's a shit show, let me tell you, but it's fun as hell to watch. This is part of my mentoring. If I said I forgot I was mentoring you, how mad would you be? Ryan let out a playful snicker, but his face quickly grew more sober. I just like hanging out with you, kid. You're different from what I'm used to. Not that I don't like hanging around the clan or anything, but I need a break sometimes. I think of something odd grew in his mind, lingering for a few uncertain moments. Alright, now that we've got all that straightened out, one more question before I figure out how the hell to get out of here. Anything happened to you recently? And it stopped with being bitch, secret plans or some shit, or anything just plain weird? His voice lower, conspiratorially, but he still sounded playful, as if he didn't really expect me to say anything important. Yes, actually, I met a man named Andre. The second I mentioned Andre's name, Randall flinched slightly. Andre is... He really creeps me out, that guy, I don't know why. I mean, beyond the fact that he lives in a fucking graveyard and wears some kind of wizard coat. He let us snort with a faint humor and left his gaze almost right after. I don't have much of an opinion on him. He's pretty secretive. He is, and that's a damn good reason not to trust him. Who knows what he could be planning? Muttering under his breath, Randall almost seemed to be talking to himself more than me. Judging from Andre's similar, but much more subtle reaction to Randall's name earlier, it seemed like these two had something strange between them. Well, listen, Midori. All I'm gonna say is you should remember that guy is a Golgotha, even if he acts all smart and calm. And a lot of ghosts do scary shit. If you want to take my advice, stay the hell away from him. Is there a reason talking about Andres upsets you so much? He finally shook his head, letting out a sheepish sounding sigh. Nah, it's nothing beyond him being a creepy bastard. And I don't want him to try and brainwash you or anything. You might end up in some kind of cult. I would say don't drink the Kool-Aid, but it really looks like blood, so just be careful. Hey, listen. Much as I hate to say it, I should probably get going before they notice all the broken windows and knocked out cars. Winked at me, and I wasn't sure if his last remark was serious or not. My guys are actually waiting for me down there too. I brought some of them along to help out. Boy, feel treated. Pausing, Randall grabbed a notepad from the nightstand, pulling out his pen and scribbling something down. From the lines and arrows, it looked like a map. Here, let's meet on the rooftop of this old building. We'll have a great view of all the rockstar carnage. Your ass better show up there tomorrow, or I'm gonna be real disappointed. I'll try as long as I'm not being sent on any missions. The distaste in his voice was obvious, but he put on a smile anyway. Well, if you are, I guess I trust you that I'll kidnap you for the night, you bitch. You just have to wait. Rolling his eyes, he turned to take a step towards the window, but briefly glanced back at me. I'll see you tomorrow, Midori. Hey, bye, Randall. Be careful on the way down. Careful? That's some kind of new word you made up? After giving me one final wink, he ducked through the window, grabbing a hold of the latch. But instead of climbing down, Randall climbed up, crawling carefully along the windowsill until he disappeared around the side of the hotel. I had no clue what his escape plan was, but I had a feeling he had figured one out. I ended my night there, with a sense of uncertainty lurking in the back of my mind. When I curled up and closed my eyes, I felt like I could see Andrew's glowing gaze, his low voice resonating like a double bass. The time for an end to this conflict swiftly approached, he said. Those ominous words circled through my thoughts as I drifted into a light, restless sleep. Holy shit. Holy shit. I can't believe I actually saw him. Babe, could you lower your voice a little bit? I know you're excited, but he's just another celeb. No, you don't understand. Jessica, he was right fucking there. Holy shit, that was so cool. When I passed a rabbit fanboy and his embarrassed girlfriend, I knew I had reached the right place. The alley up ahead was guarded by a few rough-looking guys, but not the abandoned apartment building next to it. It even had a fire escape. What a jackpot. After creaking awake this evening, I had followed Randall's map into the outskirts of downtown LA. I wasn't entirely sure what to expect or why he had chosen a video shoot as our rendezvous, but he always seemed to have something in mind, even if he wasn't aware of it himself. I climbed the fire escape with ease, grateful for the fluid strain in my body. Once I reached the top of the stairs, I gracefully leaped from window to window, scaling up to the rooftop without much effort. My mouth of blood made it even easier than I expected. By the time I reached my goal, Randall was still nowhere in sight. He had been telling the truth though. I had a great view of the alchemical men glittering on the pavement, getting their makeup and extravagant outfits touched up to perfection. One of them in particular seemed to be getting a lot of attention, Cadman probably, and even from my rooftop perch, he stood out like a diamond in the dirt. His face was very classically attractive, but that wasn't what made him different. He had a certain detached, alien, lonely confidence to the point where even the people beside him seemed unsure how to address him. He acted like a typical mischievous roster, playfully sabotaging the crew here and there, making out with his bandmates for the shock value, lifting the director in a bridal carriage just to mess with him. But somehow, no matter how close he got to someone, he still seemed to be walking in a far-off world. For some reason, I had the curious thought that his situation wasn't so different from mine. Hey, hope you saved me a seat. A warm voice rang out nearby, jerking me back to the moment. Randall jogged up to my side like someone late to a movie. He must have snuck up to the roof when I wasn't paying attention. Oh shit, they're already here. Has the band set anyone on fire yet? Not yet. Maybe they were waiting for you to show up. That's pretty nice of them. I just hope I'm not gonna be disappointed. He rubs his hands together in excitement, peering down to the alley. Well, Cadman's always up to something. Or at least that's what the paper says, so it should be a fun time. With a grunt, Randall lowers himself down beside me, letting his legs hang over the rooftop's edge. Luckily, no one on the film crew seemed to notice us, or else they weren't being paid enough to care. I saw you watching him before I came up. You had a real distant look in your eyes. Were you just having some rockstar fantasies or something else? Just musing on how we're really not that different from each other. Huh? Oh, you mean, yeah, there's probably some truth to that. Marcus used to have this saying about the types of people who can't relate to anyone else. That isolation makes them feel sympathetic towards each other. But me, I can't sympathize with the guy or anyone else who rides in a fucking limo. He snorted, rolling his eyes. A small ruckus in the alley made us both glance down. The band and their entourage were crowding around a small table, where someone was carefully pouring and arranging something. Whilst the director giving them cocaine, the shoot hasn't even started. Randall squinted at the table, letting out an "aw, ha." Guess that's one way to get people moving. Jesus, he's gonna have a rough job. I wonder if that's part of the production budget. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. Probably under talent handling. He let out a big laugh, slapping his thigh and bending so far over that I almost thought he'd slip off the roof. Drugs are pretty much everywhere here, especially with the rock and roll crowd, the artistic crowd, all those guys. You get desensitized real quick. Do you do drugs? I've played around some. It can be a lot of fun, but well, you want some advice? Don't drink or do drugs while you're feeling like shit. It will just make you feel shittier. You put on a slight too quick grin. Oh shit, they're gonna start. Down in the street, the band was finally getting into their places. I watched Cadman as he took his place at the front, smoothing his hair back and taking a deep breath, just like he was about to go on stage. The rest of the band seemed a little more impatient, or maybe they fell hidden in Cadman's shadow. They almost blend into the background. Static props for a dynamic centerpiece. Damn it, where is it? Ah, there we go. When I looked back to Randall, he was fishing around his pocket. A moment later, he pulled out a couple of small black bottles, offering one to me with a white ring. Figured they would take a while to get going, so I brought snacks. But I only got the spike kind this time. That bastard, he said they were out of the rest, sorry. I don't mind if I do. Now that's just good stuff, so don't waste any of it. Alright. What are we toasting to this time? To our newfound friendship. To a starry-eyed newbie and handsome man. To our newfound friendship. Randall nodded gently, a warm light flickering in his eyes. Like I said before, if I'm a female, if I'm a girl, I would have chose the third option, but I'm not. Maybe we always have each other's backs, from the best of times to the worst of times. We touched our bottles together and brought them to our lips. The liquid that touched my tongue was sweet, color strong with alcohol, but far from better than what you would get in bed. At that moment, a loud blast music suddenly echoed around us. The huge speaker set up behind the computer started blaring a glam rock ballad, some catchy song that I had never heard before. Someone handed Cadman a glitz-up microphone, and after a short countdown, he began to lip sync as the band played behind him. Pretty surreal to watch it live. When I close my eyes, I can already see the edited as shit final versions. Touch up to take out every unflattering angle. It'll be on MTV before the end of the year probably. Bet they will win some kind of award. Even though Randall's comment was dry, there seemed to be a slight bitterness in his voice. A short silence fell between us as we watched the first take. Randall absorbed it with unusual focus. I couldn't blame him. It felt like a spell had fallen over the owl. The glowing singer looked like he was drowning completely in his character, and even from his distance, I could see a strangely real emotion expressed in his movements. It was the type of intensity that usually led to self-destruction, like a star burning too bright and too fast. What do you think of celebrities, Midori? When they finish the first take and start a second, Randall suddenly glanced back towards me. Actors, idols, singers, all that. What are your thoughts on them? I love some of them. They're incredible people. Yeah? What do you think makes them so incredible? Their talent, their dedication, their charm. Is that really incredible to you? I've met enough to last lifetimes. And I've gotta say the managers sure packaged them well. It's like those rainbow lollipops, the ones that look like they're gonna be a fruity orgasm, you know? But when you taste one, it's more like licking plastic. Chuckling, Randall took a drink of his tiny blood water, wiping his mouth with a tattoo. Wow. Well, let me tell you one thing about celebrities, Midori. They usually taste like shit. Bit into one once, and man, between the drug cocktail and the stress and the nasty diet, I almost puked all over them. Ugh. He stuck his tongue out, shuddering. But seriously, back when I was still human, I used to see a lot of them, celebrities. Actually, I worked at this hotel, this big hotel that always had all the important people coming and going. Saw plenty of stars and all the star fuckers drooling, tripping over themselves to get an autograph or suck them off, or even just to get a good look at them. What was your job? Don't know if there was a real name for it, since it's not something most hotels have to worry about, just the ones that deal with the rich and famous. I did a lot of errand running, changing rooms to meet their personal tastes, calculating the damage they did to the room after they left, bringing up hookers and dealers, that kind of thing. A certain coldness filtered into Randall's voice. It sounded like the tone he used when talking about the Iscari, but more subtly venomous. I saw some real ugly sides to a lot of famous pretty people. It made me realize how fake everyone is. How stupid beauty is. Randall started to trace his finger along the asphalt beside him as he spoke. I realized he was sketching out invisible figures, even though his gaze was focused on the feminine below them. You know, they tell you you're a beautiful special star and everyone loves you, God loves you, and you get your shit kicked in if you got a dumb haircut at school. And on the TV, they show you some white blonde family with ear-to-ear grins because they've got all the right t-shirts and listen to all the right music and support the right fucking cause. Makes you feel like shit, like you're doing something wrong if you're not the same as they are. He sighed, letting out a slightly sheepish chuckle. You get what I'm saying at all, or does it just sound like bullshit? I know what you mean. I never fit in either. Randall visibly relaxed a little at that. As our eyes met, his gaze seemed to soften, taking on an almost affectionate light. You know, I always get along the easiest with the people who are as damaged or more damaged than me. Not that I'm saying you're damaged, whatever, but you know, the people who live their whole lives in the happy American bubble, I don't really got much in common with them. The happy American bubble seems like hell. I'm happy with who I am. He reached out suddenly, curling an arm around my shoulders and squeezing me into a hump against his side. Even though his body had no warmth, his embrace overflowed with it. Never changed that, Midori. And Randall finally pulled, he held onto my shoulders for a moment longer, squeezing them firmly. And if anyone tells you to change, you tell them to fuck themselves, alright? Oh, well, you can count on that, Randall. He flashed me an approving wink, a certain pride shining in his eyes. Not so far below us, the band had finished up their last take. You could have taken that opportunity to keep on increasing your points with him by trying to hug him one more time, but like I said before, I'm not interested in guys, so let's just keep it casual. Everyone was packing up, and relaxed laughter and chatter drifted distantly through the air. But Cadman was lingering by himself. His bandmates and crew seemed to be giving him a wide berth, either by his request or because there was some unseen, unspoken barrier between them. He leaned against the building across from us, staring down his exquisitely crafted microphone, slowly turning it over in his gloved hands. The song in the speakers was still looping. His own rasping voice must have been echoing in his ears, the soundtrack to his life play out in real time. Well, that was pretty tame, huh? Randall let out a long sigh, stretching his powerful arms over his head. Kinda disappointed nothing got set on fire, but I guess they're filming a ballad with some loud stomping anthem, so probably less testosterone in the air. What now? Are we going out for ice cream? Something tells me Cadman would make a good vampire. What? Because he also got the brooding part down? Yeah, you're right about that. Randall chuckled down at me as we walked towards the other edge of the rooftop. He seemed in high spirits despite his somber moment earlier, like my company had cheered him up. There was something gentler about Randall when we were alone, unlike the times we had spent with his clan. Maybe a part of him that others weren't supposed to see. Nora I go down first. Crouching on the concrete, Randall reached out to grab the fire escape ladder. I watched his bandaged palm squeeze around the metal. A piercing sound split the air. Something wet splattered my face, blood and tissue. One of Randall's hands jerked up to the hole in his throat. He stumbled backwards, his eye rolling back in his head. Then, almost in slow motion, he fell. Rushed. Oh god, I need to save the game. This might be very bad for us if I'm not careful. Rushed forward to grab him. Before I knew it, I darted over to the edge of the rooftop, but it was futile. I couldn't move fast enough. Fucking shit, fuck! Oh! But Randall had it and hit the ground. Somehow he managed to catch onto the ladder, and a loud stream of hiss and choke swearing reached me from below. I jumped to the ground to catch him. Without hesitation, I lift up the rooftop. The wind hurtled past my ears, almost deafening. Sounded like a cat. I easily landed on my feet. A small jolt ran through my body, but nothing else. But Randall was already standing there, clutching his throat. Ah, Christ, that fucking coward. When he pulled his hands away, his bandaged palm was soaked with blood, his bitter smell burning my sense. Rushed up to help him. I ran forward, reaching out to try and support him. No, don't. But he raised a hand to stop me, forcing me back. They might aim for you too. You should get somewhere safe. The hole in Randall's neck was sealing over, but his words still sounded painful. At that moment, a loud shout sharply echoed nearby. Then the sound of footsteps running on asphalt, the presence of vampires. It sounded like a large group approaching us at an alarming pace. Randall. Get ready for a fight. I don't think we can get out. My body tensed and I lowered slow into a crouch. I was unarmed except for Randall's neck, but we couldn't escape like this. Maybe it's alright. Randall strained for his call to me. When I glanced over to him, I realized he didn't look alarmed, just apprehensive. As if on cue, a crowd of familiar figures suddenly appeared at the end of the street. Randall, Midori! Jesus Christ, what the hell happened? The group of Marvel rushed over to us with Jack at the front. What the? Someone shot you? Where are they? Where are they? I'm gonna kill someone. A distressed commotion occurs in his brain as soon as they saw Randall's wound, and they instantly swarmed him, trying to see if he was alright. It's fine, it's fine. She makes you appreciate the vamp blood, the fuck? As Randall tried to reassure the group, Jack stepped up to me, eyeing the blood on my face. Shit, Midori, are you okay? Could really use a washcloth, to be honest. Yeah, holy shit, you got blood over you. Guess it's not yours. It's so fucking scary. I knew it, they shot him. Outrage snarling filled the air, stirring up a bloodlust so palpable that I could feel it. We'll kill all those fuckers, every last one of them. They're monsters, they deserve to die. Jack threw the rest of the group an uneasy glance. We came out here because someone called the beach house. They said a group is scattered heading this way. We were gonna scout out to make sure you guys were safe, but then we heard the shot. I wonder why they didn't shoot me too. Fuck if I know, probably because you're still working for Shards. Or maybe you were next, but they ditched after fucking up with Randall. Midori? When a husky voice called my name, I turned to see Randall, walking towards me, a little unsteady on his feet. I see you, Midori. After a small glance at me, Jack left my side, hurrying over to the others. The whole Randall's throat was already mostly healed, the blood in his throat wiped away. He still looked shaken up, his body drained of energy. I had one of my guys call you a cat. You should get out of here before something else happens. Are your clanmates going after the shooter? I told them I thought we should head back to Santa Monica. If there's an escort group close by, sticking around is a bad plan. Exhaling a heavy breath, Randall ran a hand through his hair, his nails still caked with blood. The others, they told me about the call to the beach house. Someone said that the escort were gonna attack us or something. The caller didn't give their name, just hung up real quick. Yes, everyone figured it was our friend. But something makes me wonder if that call wasn't working with the assassin. He paused, his somber, uncertain voice fading to a faint whisper. If they weren't trying to make an audience. You're right, the timing is too suspicious. Yeah, it is. Fuck, I'm probably just being a paranoid piece of shit coincidence happened. For once, Randall seemed like he didn't know what to say. Like he didn't know what he was feeling either. Listen, we'll hang out again soon. I make it up to you somehow. And I should get back to the house. Nothing ruins a guy's night getting shot, let me tell you. I'll find whoever shot you. They won't get away with this. Yeah. I'm sure they'll get what they deserve sooner or later. After we said our uneasy goodbyes, I watched Brandon leave with his group, the Marva protectively clustering around him as they walk off. But before I took a cab back to the hotel, I had to stop at a gas station to wash out my face. Randall's dry blood felt like it was eating into my skin. The next evening, I still got no word of any new missions. After waiting around for a little while, hunger stirred in my stomach, so I decided to drink from David. I called David, who scrambled into my room as fast as he possibly could. Hello, mistress. Take as much from me as you want. I don't mind passing out anything. I put him close, sinking my fangs into his warm, exposed neck. A stream of moans and cries instantly tore from David's lips, starting at a nearly deafening volume, but lowering little by little. Eventually, I heard only a few weak whimpers licking out his throat, and I knew I had taken enough of his delicious, warm, sweet blood. David seemed barely able to stand on his feet, so I took him back to his room before making my way downstairs. Midori. I Excuse me, a moment of your time, please. Just as I was about to leave the hotel, Charles actually called out behind me. The evening had been uneventful so far, so I figured I was in the play, but apparently not. Miss Lau would like to speak to you. Alright, where is she? Please head over to the meeting room. She's waiting for you there. Offering me a slightly urgent, uneasy nod, he turned to hurry off somewhere. I could only imagine what had come up this time, but my instinct told me that it wasn't going to be good. I think it was about the shooting. It will be the topic of this talk will be about the shooting yesterday. Ah, Midori. You